I was the first guy he called, and he says, okay, this is how the phone call went. I picked up one, I see POTUS on my cell phone, so I know it was Trump. He says, all right, Tom, you've been bitching about 4 years. You want to come fix it? And I didn't hesitate. I said, I'll come back and I'll do it for free. I'm so pissed off. You don't have to pay me. And look, in less than a month, illegal crossings down 95%. ICE has arrested over 21,000 people in the nation. Gotaways. Under President Biden, the gotaways, 2.2 million people crossed the border, weren't arrested because the Border Patrol was too busy making sandwiches, changing diapers, making baby formula, making hospital runs, dealing with this humanitarian crisis. 2.2 million people crossed the border and weren't apprehended, weren't fingerprinted. We had about 1,800 a day in 2023. You know how many had yesterday? 48. You're talking about 2,000 miles of border and only 48 people escaped, but that's 48 too many. I'm not going to be happy if that number is 0. Now we're getting a question, well, you said you're going to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats, but you arrested non-criminals. Yeah, damn right we did. Because you're in the country illegally, which happens to be a violation of our law. Entering this country illegally is a crime, and we're not going to forgive it. Into sanctuary cities, game on, because Pam Bondi's back into place. And Kash Patel is back running the FBI. President Trump brought together one hell of a team, and every time I see one of these people get nominated and take their oath for office, I just get that much more excited. I'm afraid I'm going to have a heart attack one of these days because it just keeps getting better. Sanctuary cities are a sanctuary for criminals. I've read all these stories this week. Tom Homan insulted AOC. Well, look, it's not an insult if it's true. She says Homan has no game, he has nothing on me. Look, you can claim you're educating people according to their constitutional rights. I think she's a long ways away from being a constitutional scholar myself. Bottom line is, we know what the game is. You can claim you're educating people to their rights, but we know what the end game is. Try to tell people how to invade law enforcement. And we're talking about people who enter the country illegally, which is a crime, committed a violent act against a U.S. citizen, were ordered removed by a judge. We got members of Congress saying it's okay to educate them how to invade law enforcement. Look, we're not making this shit up. We're enforcing the laws enacted by Congress. And we're not going to apologize for it, not under this administration. We got great governors out there. Governor Pritzker, you ain't one of them. I met with Governor DeSantis yesterday. You know what he's done? He's passed one of the strongest state immigration laws in this nation. Do you know it's a crime in the state of Florida? It is a crime to enter the country illegally. He made his own state law. He has passed a law that he will fire any mayor or sheriff that doesn't help ICE enforce immigration law. The men and women of the Border Patrol, I love each and every one of you wearing that green uniform. You're the finest 1% this country has. So look, we're attacking the interior enforcement. For those who don't think those numbers are enough, I don't either. If you haven't seen, I'm happy with the numbers, but I'm not going to be satisfied until every criminal alien gang member, every criminal alien, every Trenda Agua is eradicated from this country and send their ass to Gitmo where they belong. Damn, I love my job. We got, and look, I already said we got the border locked down, crossing down 95%. We've already arrested 21, just above 21,000. And we're going to double the workforce. We're going to add more. We're going to add more targeting. We're going to add more teams. God bless the men and women of ICE. God bless all the DOJ components that are with us. We've got U.S. Marshals, DEA, FBI, ATF, all these fine agencies helping us. And what's great about it, when we went to Chicago, Mayor of Chicago said I wasn't welcome in Chicago. Guess where the first place I went was? Chicago. But having DEA and FBI there and ATF was great. We found an illegal alien with a gun. ATF does a criminal charge. We found an illegal alien with drugs. We prosecuted that crime. So we're prosecuting these people before we deport them, and that's exactly what we should be doing. We're going to make this country safe again. The third rail, when President Trump told me, he said, Tolman, secure the border, run the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen, and find over 300,000 missing children that were sex trafficked or forced labor trafficking in this country. And we're looking for them. And we're going to save children. All these bad stories about Trump, Holman, you're racist, you're a white nationalist, you're a mean person. Okay, I'll take that. Because you know what Holman's doing? I'm working for the greatest president of my lifetime, and we're going to save lives. Because when 95% less people coming across the border, how many women ain't being raped? How many Americans aren't dying from fentanyl overdoses? How many no-suspected terrorists aren't getting in the country? How many women and children aren't sex trafficked in this country when you have a border lockdown? We're saving lives. That's right. Stand up. President Trump's getting ready to come on stage. I got another message to the criminal cartels of Mexico. At the RNC, I said a speech. I said two things at the speech. If you're in the country illegally, you better start packing now. We're keeping that promise. The other thing I said on stage at the RNC, that President Trump is going to designate the criminal cartels of Mexico as a terrorist organization. He's going to wipe you off the face of the earth. After I said that, of course, I got numerous death threats. They've doubled the size of my security detail because all the cartels want to take Holman out. Well, I'll tell you what, come get some. You have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. You are now a terrorist organization. So word out to anybody that assists them, anybody that sells their drugs on the street, anybody that assists these cartels in any way, you are helping a terrorist organization, and the weight of the world's coming down on you. I read a story last night, the police commissioner of Boston. You said you doubled down on not helping the law enforcement officers of ICE. I'm coming to Boston. I'm bringing hell with me. I looked at the numbers this morning. I stopped counting at 9. Nine child rapists that were in jail in Massachusetts, but rather than honoring an ICE detainer, released them back into the street. You're not a police commissioner. Take that badge off your chest, put it in the desk drawer, because you became a politician. You forgot what it's like to be a cop. And guess what? The men and women of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they found those predators, and they're locked back up, and we're going to deport them from the United States. To the women, men and women of ICE, the agency I used to run, I was the first ICE director that actually came up through the ranks. For the 20,000 men and women that work for me, I never asked them to do anything I didn't do myself. What I've done recently, I brought a bunch of badass old school boys back. I got a guy named Mark Hall. Mark Hall went through the Border Patrol Academy in 1984. I said, Mark, you ready to come back and make a difference? And he dropped everything he did to come back. I'm bringing a bunch of old school people back to show the young folk how we did it and how we're going to do it. Like I said, I want to leave you with this. I said I got 45 minutes left. Look, if Congressman J. Paul couldn't, gavel me to shut up, no one on this building is going to get me off the stage until I'm ready to get off the stage. Now they turned the time red. I guess that's a warning. Look, here's what I'm going to say, and I hope you agree with me. If you agree with me, will you please stand up and let him know, because he's listening right now. The greatest president in my lifetime is back in the Oval Office. He's going to make America great again. He's going to make America healthy again. He's going to make America safe again. You got it. President Trump, God bless you. I'm proud to be back, and I'm not leaving until we fix this shit.
All right, you ready?
We've had 10 years of this, sweetheart.
And it's only getting bigger. Only getting beautifully bigger every year.
Bigger and better. So, our next speaker has appeared before you twice. She is, you're close, she is leading the charge with a few other great patriots, sovereigntists, to try to put Europe back on track. Our European friends, many of them are sitting right here, Santiago and others, Eduardo from South America, others know that the first step in getting Europe back on track, was America re-electing Donald Trump. And my beautiful wife has the honor of introducing someone she knows is a real hero to all of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming live from Italy, the Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mercy. And good morning, Cpac. How are you? Thank you very much for this opportunity to greet you, your guests, and above all, the incredible people of Cpac. You know how much I value this gathering. And I couldn't miss this edition, even if only from afar. And today, I address you with the pride of representing as Prime Minister an extraordinary nation that is Italy. A nation with a deep, unbreakable bond with the United States. And this bond is forged by history and shared principles. And it is embodied by the countless Americans of Italian descent who for generations have contributed to America's prosperity. So to them, allow me to say thank you. Thank you for being exceptional ambassadors for Italian passion, creativity, and genius. To this incredible nation, Italy, I dedicate my full energy. Our government is tirelessly working to restore Italy's rightful place on the international stage. We are reforming, modernizing, and reclaiming our role as a global leader. We aim to build an Italy that once again amazes the world. Let me tell you, we're proving it. The mainstream propaganda machine predicted that a conservative government would have isolated Italy, deleting it from the map of the world, driving away investors and suppressing fundamental freedoms. They were wrong. Their storytelling was fake. The reality is that Italy is thriving. Employment is at a record high. Our economy is growing. Our fiscal policy is back on track. And the flow of illegal migration has decreased by 60% in the last year. And most importantly, we are expanding freedom in every aspect of Italians' lives. Why? Because we conservatives do what we say. We do what is right. We fight for what we believe in. And moreover, we trust people, not fear them. Unlike the globalist elites who believe the government should educate the people, forcing them to accept policies they never asked for, we believe in democracy. We serve the people. We do not rule over them. Cpac understood this fight. Cpac understood this fight. And again, I want to thank you for that. You have never given up, even in the toughest moment. You have fought for a new victory. You have built a global network that has given a voice to millions who were silenced, so that conservatives everywhere would know they are not alone. And we are not alone, right? Cpac understood before many others that the political and cultural battle for conservative values is not just an American battle. It is a Western battle. Because, my friends, I still believe in the West. Not just as a geographical space, but as a civilization. A civilization born from the fusion of Greek philosophy, Roman law, and Christian values. A civilization built and defended over centuries through the genius, energy, and sacrifices of many. When we say West, we define a way of understanding the world where the individual is central, life is sacred, all men are born equal and free, the law applies equally to all, sovereignty belongs to people, and freedom comes before everything else. This is our heritage. And we will never apologize for it. My question for you is, can this civilization still defend the principles and values that define it? Can it still be proud of itself and aware of its role? I think so. So we must say loudly and clearly to those attacking the West from the outside and those sabotaging it from within with virus of cancel culture and woke ideology, we must say to them that we will never be ashamed of who we are. We affirm our identity. We affirm our identity and work to strengthen it, because without a deep-rooted identity, we cannot be great again. The radical left wants to erase our history, undermine our identity, divide us by nationality, by gender, by ideology, but we will not be divided, because we are strong only when we are together. And if the West cannot exist without America, or rather the Americas, thinking of the many patriots fighting for freedom in Central and South America, then it also cannot exist without Europe. Our adversaries hope that President Trump will move away from us. But knowing him as a strong and effective leader, I bet that those who hope for divisions will be proven wrong. I know some of you may see Europe as a distant or even lost. I tell you, it is not. Yes, mistakes have been made, priorities have been misplaced, especially due to ruling classes and mainstream media that imported and replicated in the old continent the most reckless theories of American liberal leftism. These are the same elites who were recently outraged by J.D. Vance's speech in Munich, in which the Vice President rightly stated that before discussing security, we must know what we are defending. He wasn't talking about tariffs or trade balances on which we will each defend our interests while preserving our friendship. We don't need to say how interconnected our economies are and how the unpredictable results of a trade clash would play into the hands of other great powers. Vice President Vance was discussing something deeper: identity, democracy, freedom of speech. In short, Europe's historic role and mission. Many pretended to be outraged, calling for European pride against an American daring to lecture us. But let me tell you, as someone who is proud to be European, first, if those who were outraged had shown the same pride when Europe lost its strategic autonomy, tying its economy to autocratic regimes, or when European borders and our way of life were threatened by mass illegal migration, now we would live in a stronger Europe. Second, these ideas are not new for many of us. Brave European leaders have been saying this for a long time. I've said them many times before, even from the Cpac stage, urging Europe to rediscover its true and deepest soul, which has been sacrificed on the altar of wokeness, bureaucracy, and mercantilism. These are common sense ideas, now shared by a majority of European citizens, as election results have shown. So Europe is far from lost. And it will never be lost as long as conservatives remain in the fight. There is a growing awareness. There is a growing awareness in Europe that security is now the top priority. You cannot defend your freedom if you lack the means or the courage to do so. Throughout history, Europeans and Americans have shown they are hearers to Pericles' words. Happiness depends on freedom, and freedom depends on courage. We proved this when we stopped invasions, won our independences, and overthrew dictators. And we have done it together the last 3 years in Ukraine, where a proud people fight for their freedom against brutal aggression. And we must continue today, working together for a just and lasting peace, a peace that can only be built with the contribution of all, but above all, with strong leaderships. And I know that with Donald Trump leading the United States, we will never again see the disaster we saw in Afghanistan 4 years ago. So, border security, energy security, economic security, food security, defense and national security. For a simple reason. If you are not secure, you are not free. And when freedom is at risk, the only thing that you can do is to put it in the wiser hands. That is why conservatives keep on growing and are becoming more and more influential in European politics. And that is why the left is nervous. And with Trump's victory, their irritation has turned into hysteria. Not only because conservatives are winning, but because conservatives are now collaborating globally. When Bill Clinton and Tony Blair created the global leftist liberal network in the 90s, they were called statesmen. Today, when Trump, Meloni, Milei, or maybe Modi talk, they are called a threat to democracy. This is the left's double standard. But we're used to it. We are used to it. And the good news is people no longer believe in their lies. Despite all the mud they throw at us, citizens keep voting for us. Because simply, people are not naive as the left considers them. They vote for us because we defend freedom. We love our nations. We want secure borders. We preserve businesses and citizens from the green leftist insanity. We defend family and life. We fight against wokeism. We protect our sacred right to our faith and our free speech. And we stand for common sense. So ultimately, our struggle is hard, but the choice is simple. Will we surrender to decline? Or will we fight to reverse it? Will we let our civilization fade? Or will we stand up and defend it? Will we leave our children a weaker world or a stronger one? Will we want the new generations to be ashamed of their roots? Or will we recover awareness and pride of who we are and teach it to them? I made my choice long ago, and I fight every day to honor it. And I know that I'm not alone in this battle, that you are all standing with me, that we are all standing together. And believe me, this makes all the difference. Thank you all. Thank you all. God bless you, and God bless the free nations of the world.
My name is Elise Stefanik. I'm proud to say I was born and raised in upstate New York. I've seen firsthand how insiders in Washington have forgotten to fight for average small businesses like ours on Main Street. I want to change that, because we deserve results.
Elise. Elise! How's Elise doing, right?
A Republican from Northern New York, the youngest woman ever to serve in Congress.
Elise Stefanik, the #3 leader in the House.
One of the former president's most loyal supporters.
What a job she's done. Thank you, Elise.
Thank God there are people out there like Elise Stefanik who doesn't just moan about things on Twitter.
Representing Fort Drum in upstate New York, Stefanik is a member of the House Intelligence and Armed Services Committee.
I rise today in strong support of the conference report for the National Defense Authorization Act.
Stefanik won her swing district by 22 points and last year was re-elected by 35 points.
Everyone knows upstate New York and the North Country is Elise country.
Congresswoman Elise Stefanik securing a 4th term in office, winning by nearly double over her Democratic challenger.
Elise Stefanik, a name becoming more nationally recognized.
She is a superstar.
Congresswoman who Adam Schiff could not silence.
This is the 5th time you have interrupted members of Congress, newly elected members of Congress.
Did I not realize when she opens that mouth, you were killing them, Elise? You were killing them.
House GOP Conference Chair Elise Stefanik is announcing a probe aimed at holding school administrators accountable.
I'm going to give you one more opportunity. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct when it comes to bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
I watched her run over the head of Harvard, the head of Penn, the great old Wharton School of Finance.
With 69 days to go, Donald Trump tapped New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik to be U.S. ambassador to the United Nations.
It has never been more critical for the United States to lead with strength and moral clarity. I share President Trump's vision of a UN reformed by strong America first, peace through strength, and a return to this founding mission of promoting peace and security around the world. In closing, I will forever be grateful to my constituents in New York's 21st District. 10 years ago, upstate and North Country voters took a chance on a young, first-time, unknown candidate, and I commit to the American people that I will work my very hardest in the coming years to lead with moral clarity and American values.
Whether it's standing up for election integrity, whether it's defeating Liz Cheney to unify the Republican Party.
I'll always be your friend.
Are we ready to make America great again?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome U.S. Ambassador Designate to the United Nations, Elise Stefanik.
Hello, America First Patriots. Are you excited to be here? It is so great to be back at Cpac with the Republican trifecta, a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and of course, President Donald J. Trump in the White House. Now, we know none of this would have been possible without you, the American people. So I want to thank you for years of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication to fire Joe Biden, elect President Trump to save America. And believe me, we know, and in fact, no one knows this better than President Trump and his entire family, that this election was not easy. The left and their loyal stenographers in the mainstream media stooped to new and disgraceful lows. They tried everything: vicious smears, unprecedented attacks on his family, unconstitutional impeachments, and illegal lawfare by a weaponized and corrupt justice system. President Trump even faced an assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. But by the grace of God, he prevailed, and we are here today. Americans know that God was truly watching over America and President Trump on that fateful day. We will always remember that day in Pennsylvania, just like we will always remember November 5th, 2024, the once-in-a-lifetime victory of the most important election in history. That was the day when President Trump delivered truly the greatest political comeback of all time, winning the popular vote with an overwhelming mandate to save America, a mandate to make America strong again, safe again, healthy again, wealthy again, and to once and for all make America great again. And President Trump has wasted no time delivering on the promises he made to the American people. He has already accomplished more in 4 weeks than Joe Biden did in 4 years. The tremendous results speak for themselves. On day one, President Trump signed hundreds of executive orders securing our border, deporting illegals, unleashing American energy, ending woke DEI policies, lowering prices, increasing accountability, and ushering in a new golden age for the American people. President Trump rightfully declared a national emergency at the border and deployed the military, including the 10th Mountain Division from my home district in upstate New York, to secure our nation. Thank you to the soldiers and their families for saving our country and protecting our borders. Climb to glory, 10th Mountain. President Trump also signed into law the Laken-Riley Act, the first bill passed by our House Republican majority in Congress. President Trump has ended catch and release, restored Remain in Mexico, restarted building the wall, and rightfully declared cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. President Trump is not only securing our nation, he is rebuilding the broken and failed Biden economy of inflation, malaise, and weakness. President Trump is putting America first by demanding fair and reciprocal trade, unleashing American energy independence, cutting regulations, and demanding the government work for we the people as President Trump doges wasteful un-American spending. And this is because President Trump knows that a strong, safe, and prosperous America at home is a strong America abroad. Our economic security, our border security, our energy security is also our national security. And the world is watching as President Trump reasserts his America First, peace through strength foreign policy. And I'm so honored to have been nominated by President Trump to serve in his cabinet as the United States ambassador to the United Nations as a part of this national security team. Our team is already hard at work on behalf of the President and the American people at Turtle Bay as I finish my work to enact his agenda in Congress on behalf of my constituents and the American people. When discussing this nomination with President Trump, the President shared with me that he sees great promise in the United Nations if it focuses on its founding mission of international peace and security. Just look at President Trump's record of international peace and security in his first term. He negotiated the historic Abraham Accords, the largest step to peace in the Middle East in over a quarter of a century. President Trump's maximum pressure campaign crippled Iran's capability to threaten instability in the region. His administration marked the only time that Putin did not invade another country. And there is no question that President Trump is the president of peace and deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for the historic achievements of his first term alone. And now look at what President Trump has already accomplished in just 1 month. He secured the release of 6 American hostages in Venezuela, 2 Americans in Afghanistan, an American-Israeli citizen held in Hamas captivity, a Pennsylvania teacher in Russia, and an American citizen in Belarus. The world knows that it is only because of President Trump that the innocent hostages viciously taken by Hamas terrorists are finally coming home, including those today. And President Trump is already effectively working to bring peace to the Russia-Ukraine war to stop the bloodshed. He's restored maximum pressure on Iran and redesignated the Houthis as a foreign terrorist organization. And the world is watching as every head of state is clamoring to meet with President Trump because the world knows America First is back. And at the UN, we are already at work with President Trump delivering results. We left the WHO, which covered up the truth about COVID. President Trump terminated the America Last Paris Climate Agreement. President Trump rightfully withdrew from the UN Human Rights Council that is a corrupt farce run by the worst abusers on the planet. The Trump administration imposed sanctions on the International Criminal Court, an illegitimate court fueled by raging anti-Semitism and anti-Americanism. And a top priority that I have worked on in Congress for years, President Trump defunded UNRWA, the pro-Hamas terrorist group that committed atrocities on October 7th. And make no mistake, hear it now, we will not only defund UNRWA, we will dismantle it. President Trump also reinstated the Mexico City policy to ensure our hard-earned U.S. taxpayer dollars do not support foreign organizations that perform or promote abortions around the world. The U.S. rejoined the Geneva Consensus Declaration to promote and strengthen opportunities for women and girls around the world and to protect the family as the fundamental unit of society. And of course, our U.S. embassies have been instructed to fly the beautiful American flag and only our American flag. This is moral leadership. This is strong leadership. This is President Trump's America First, peace through strength. Now, I want to ask you, let me ask you this question. Do you all remember that famous congressional hearing with the anti-Semitic university presidents from Harvard and Penn? I should say former presidents after my questions. 5 down and so many to go. And mark my words, that hearing is the type of strong moral leadership that I will deliver at the United Nations on day 1. And I know that I will be serving as the United States ambassador to the United Nations and not the other way around. And I will always stand up for the American people, American sovereignty, and our America First values. That means I will always defend America's most precious ally, Israel. I led the charge to expose the rot of anti-Semitism on college campuses, and I will lead the charge on behalf of President Trump to root out the rot of the true den of anti-Semitism, and that is the UN. This past week, we continue to see with crystal clarity that our fight to support Israel and eradicate Hamas is a fight between good and evil, light and darkness, life and death. The hearts of the world shattered to learn the horrific fate of hostages Oded Lifshitz, Shiri Bibas, and her 2 precious sons, Kafir and Ariel. The world must never forget that Hamas terrorists savagely murdered over 1,200 innocent civilians, including women, children, the elderly, and babies, and took hundreds hostage, committing unspeakable atrocities against humanity on October 7th and thereafter. And as we learn more about Hamas's evil murder leading to this devastating loss of life of these innocent victims, we must be reminded that this must not be Israel's fight alone. It will never be Israel's fight alone. The absolutely heinous display of Hamas terrorists parading the coffins of murdered Israeli babies and lying about the remains of their mother to the cheers of a barbaric, animalistic pro-Hamas mob is an affront to all of humanity. And it has never been more important to show the world's unequivocal support for Israel, and it is clear that under President Trump's leadership, America stands steadfast in support of Israel and the Jewish people, and we will not rest until every hostage is brought home and Hamas is eradicated. At the UN, I will also work with President Trump, Secretary Marco Rubio, Elon Musk, and the DOGE team to ensure every single dollar that we send to the United Nations is in line with the founding mission of actually promoting international peace and security. We will not fund terrorism, we will not fund corruption, we will not fund anti-Semitism, and we will not fund anti-Americanism. The United Nations will hear loudly and clearly that President Trump's America First, Peace Through Strength agenda and record of results is back, and it is here to stay. President Trump has been relentless in pushing for a government that serves the interest of we, the American people, which is why he sent DOGE to protect our hard-earned U.S. taxpayer dollars. And let's take a moment to talk about DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. This initiative is as common sense and America first as it gets. And yet Democrats and the left mainstream media have spiraled into an utter state of panic, calling President Trump and Elon Musk a threat to democracy, when the truth is, DOGE is a threat to the swamp's bureaucracy. DOGE is draining the swamp just like President Trump said he would. And how about this? I think we need a global DOGE. We must expose the reckless and anti-Semitic and anti-American spending at the United Nations, and we will. So get ready. We are just 1 month in, and we will continue to work together to support the greatest president in the history of our country, President Donald J. Trump, to make America great again. Thank you again to all the patriots here at Cpac and across the nation. God bless you, God bless President Donald J. Trump, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome award-winning international singer, Mary Milben.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. God bless America. You all know this land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America. God bless America, my home, sweet home. America, America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. To see America, it's the greatest country. America, God shed His grace on thee. Oh, God bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cpac Senior Fellow Mercedes Schlapp and Cpac Chairman Matt Schlapp.
Mary. Thank you. Somebody's clapping. That's nice. That's better. Mike Lindell's clapping.
There we go. Sarah Carter.
Sarah's clapping. Julie's
the
clapping.
Levins. There you go.
All right. This one's from the heart, men and women of Cpac, and freedom lovers from around the world who are tuning in to this, what the national news media is calling the conservative United Nations. So how appropriate to have our next ambassador to the United Nations, here with us today. 10 years ago, I had this amazing opportunity to go to Trump Tower and meet with someone who was a hero of mine, Donald Trump, in his big, beautiful office at the top of that big, beautiful tower. He did something unusual. He asked a lot of questions. And I thought, he can't run for president. He's too inquisitive and intellectual. And after that, I remember being on MSNBC and being asked why Donald Trump would run with all of the slurs that then was put before me on television. And I remember in my brain thinking, this is the moment. You're either going to start off by criticizing him, or you're going to defend him. And then this wonderful path started of standing up for this outsider and telling establishment Republicans and establishment conservatives that the old way was broken and it wasn't working. And the men and women of Cpac and the students of Cpac welcomed Donald Trump. We've welcomed him 15 times to this stage, more than any other person. We've stood on this stage and had the audacity to say that globalism would die. And lo and behold, I think it just did. And when Donald Trump decided to run for president again, we never listened to the siren songs when people told us it was time to listen to someone new or take a different path. We knew in our hearts, we knew in our souls that there was only one man ordained to do this most impossible of jobs. And that was verified by the tragedy that occurred in Pennsylvania, when Donald Trump got off the ground, stood up, showed us his measure of courage, and told the world that he would fight. For mercy and honor, for mercy and me, this is a great honor. We've been doing this for like literally half our marriage. It's been the greatest professional and personal privilege of our lives to be a part of the resurgence of America and the defense of freedom. And this year, we're so proud to say that because of all of your hard work, America is back on track. And at Cpac 2025, it is our honor to present to you your president and freedom's leader, President Donald J. Trump.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, I'm free.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And a very special hello to Cpac. It's been a long time. We've loved being back, and it's hotter than ever. This place is packed. You got to see outside. They don't know what's happening. They have no idea what's happening. And a friend is here from Argentina, and a friend is here from Poland. Stand up. Great job. Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome back to the nation's capital, where our movement is thriving, fighting, winning, and dominating Washington like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like this before. They used to have a little smaller crowds here. It's a little bigger. The fraudsters, liars, cheaters, globalists, and deep state bureaucrats are being sent packing. The illegal alien criminals are being sent home. We're draining the swamp, and we're restoring government by the people, for the people. For years, Washington was controlled by a sinister group of radical left Marxists, warmongers, and corrupt special interests who drained our wealth, attacked our liberties, obliterated our borders, and sucked our country dry. Not any longer. But on November 5th, we stood up to all the corrupt forces that were destroying America. We took away their power. We took away their confidence. They lost their confidence, you know? Do you ever watch? They lost their confidence. Oh, it's so nice to watch. And we took back our country. And we must be doing something right, because we've got the highest poll numbers that I've ever had and that any Republican president has ever had. And our approval rating is now the highest ever across all demographics. Rasmussen just came out at 56%. Insider Advantage, 56%. RMG Research, 57%. And we have many polls in the mid-60s, one at 71%. We like that, 71. And according to YouGov, a big deal, 70% of Americans believe that what we are doing is right, and we are keeping our promises. That's all we're doing, when you think, is keeping our promises. That's all we had to do. And their promises weren't worthwhile to go and vote for. They loved men playing in women's sports, open borders, little things like that. But don't tell them. Don't tell them. Keep it quiet. We'll tell them about a week before the next election. Now, keep it quiet. Let them think it's a great thing what they're doing. You saw Maine yesterday, right? The governor of Maine. She's fighting to keep men in women's sports. You ever see what happens to a woman when a woman boxes a man who transitioned to womanhood? Did you ever see what happens? It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Let her do that fight. Let them all do that fight. Because I think that's about a 90-10 issue, and I can't figure out who the 10% are. Nobody can. So today I want to say thank you to all of the incredible patriots of Cpac and all of the incredible patriots in our country. 77 million, and it's actually much more than that, because despite that, they cheated like hell. It was just too big to rig. It was too big to rig. 77 million. Remember, you used to go, I said, look, we're leading in the polls by a lot. Don't believe the polls. Just go and vote. You got to vote. We got to make it too big to rig. And they tried. But it was too big to rig. One of the great statements. We love it. Because everybody went and voted. We fought through hell together. But in the end, we achieved the great liberation of America. We're liberating our country right now. We're doing all these things that you're reading about. We're liberating our country. I first spoke to this gathering 14 years ago. And I won your straw poll. I didn't know anything about a straw poll. They took this big straw poll, and I won by like 27 points. And I figured, you know, that's good. Maybe I should keep doing it. And I did. and I became president. Isn't that great? Who would think? Who would think? But he became president too. He's a MAGA guy too. Make Argentina great again, right? Make Argentina great again. I kept hearing about this man. I kept hearing about this man in beautiful Argentina, and it is beautiful, but boy, did it have inflation. Inflation made it less beautiful. I hear you're doing fantastically. We're very proud of you, actually. And make Argentina great again. Thank you very much. Great honor to have you. But now it's my honor to address you for the first time as your 47th President of the United States. Great honor. I want to begin by thanking Matt and Mercedes Schlapp for the incredible job they do, and everyone they put together. They put together an amazing team, the American Conservative Union, for organizing this event. You have some big players here. Senator Ted Cruz, Eric Schmidt, Jim Banks of Indiana. Where's Eric? Where is Eric? Is it? Hello, Eric. You can see Eric anywhere. If he's right in the back of the room, he stands up. They're all good. These are great people. Representatives Riley Moore, James Comer, Harriet Hagerman, Byron Donalds. Our great Attorney General, she's going to be great, Pam Bondi. Where's Pam? I don't know where she is. So many people, so many people. Secretary Doug Burgum, Secretary Chris Wright. Oh, he's going to get that energy out of the ground. Secretary Scott Turner. Our next ambassador to the United Nations, Elise Stefanik, who just gave a great speech, by the way. A very good friend of mine. Is this guy central casting, though? Tom Homan. Is he central casting? Where is it? Hello, Tom. Are you? Well, I love that. How could I love a guy like that? But I do. He's doing a great job. Thank you, Tom, very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Arkansas Governor Sarah Sanders. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. And Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday. I love that name. We're also honored to be joined by President Duda of Poland, who's a fantastic man and a great friend of mine. And we got 84% of the Polish people that voted for us, so you must be doing something right, huh? Hanging out with Trump. And again, President Milei of Argentina, thank you very much. Thank you very much. What a great guy. And the Prime Minister of Slovakia, Robert Fico. Robert, thank you, Robert. Thank you. Nice to see you. The leader of the UK Reform Party, who, by the way, did really well in that last election. I've been his friend for a long time, and I wasn't sure, am I supposed to be his friend or not? But it never mattered to me if he did well or not. I always liked him, but it's easier to like him when he got the kind of votes he got. He really took it by storm, and they say he's going to do even better this time. Nigel Farage. Where is Nigel? Thank you, Nigel. Thank you. What a great guy. The leader of Spain's Vox Party, Santiago Abascal. Thank you, Santiago. Thank you. Thank you very much. I thought that was you. Thank you very much. Great job you're doing. And a friend of mine, Eduardo Bolsonaro of Brazil, the Chamber of Deputies. Thank you. Thank you. Say hello to your father. Thank you very much. Great family. Great gentleman and your great family. And our great First Lady, Melania, is watching us right now on television, so give her a hand. Give her a hand. Whoa. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, she's going to be happy. That's so nice. We love our First Lady. Everybody does. With the help of so many incredible supporters here today, we're going to forge a new and lasting political majority that will drive American politics for generations to come. I think we're going to do fantastically well in the midterms. You know, in theory, the one that wins the presidency does not do well in the midterms, but I think this is going to be a change. We're at a level, I don't think we've been at this level maybe ever as the Republican Party. We're a bigger, better, stronger party than ever before. More people in our party than ever before. But the people have given us a resounding mandate for dramatic change in Washington, and we are going to deliver it. We're going to use it, and we're going to make America great again by using it. So it's going to be something. But think of it, at the presidential level, we won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We swept all 7 swing states: Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, all by great margins. We won 85% of all of the counties in America. That means that map was red. Did you ever see the map? Did you see the certified map? Where is it? I want to see a certified map. It's all red. You can hardly find the blue. Think of this. They won 525 counties, and we won 2,600 counties. It's the biggest margin ever recorded. And incredibly, for the first time ever, all 50 states shifted toward the Republican Party. It's never happened before. So it was indeed too big to rig. We won the largest number of African-American votes in Republican history, by far. We won the largest number of Hispanic-American votes, any Republican ever. Hispanic Americans, we love you. The energy, the brilliance of Hispanic Americans. We won all of the cities and towns along the Texas border, whereas before I ran, we won none. We never used to win any. I got a call from our great governor of Texas who said, President, you just won every single town along the Texas border to Mexico. I said, oh, is that good? He said, it hasn't happened since Reconstruction. I said, define Reconstruction for me. He said, that means essentially the Civil War. That's a long time. But that was when I first heard about it, actually. Our party has become the proud voice of hardworking citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. And I think one of the main reasons, not that we're conservative or not that we're anything else, we are the party of common sense. It's about common sense, right? It's all about common sense. Over the past month, we've confirmed an all-star team of warriors, patriots, visionaries, and put the America First agenda into action. I see Doug Burgum sitting right over there. I tell you, he was so good. I looked at him. I said, I got to have him here. I got to have him. He's, you know, he was a great governor. He's involved with a little thing called energy. He's got the Department of Interior, and Chris Wright has the Department of Energy. So Chris has no energy, and Doug has all of the energy. Chris has more interior, but he doesn't have. So I merged them. So now you have an energy guy, and you have the guy with all the energy, and you're going to drill, baby, drill, aren't you, huh? Drill, baby, drill. And Catherine, stand up. His wife is incredible. She is such an incredible woman. Incredible woman. You got very lucky, Doug. It's good to be successful, isn't it, Doug? She's an incredible woman. He's an incredible guy. In addition to the great cabinet secretaries we have here today. We confirm Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to end the woke insanity and rebuild our military. Pete is fantastic. Thank you. To stop the weaponization of federal law enforcement, I know about that, I think, better than any human being on earth. This week, we swore in a new director of the FBI, somebody that everybody wanted, Kash Patel. Kash is great. He's a popular guy. He went through with the blessing of a lot of good people, too. I'll tell you, it was great. To end the politicalization of our intelligence agencies, we confirmed Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who is something. Very respected, highly respected. And to make America healthy again, we confirmed Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. Great guy. We need him. We need him. You know, there's a number on autism as an example with children, autism. And you go back 15 years, it was from 10 to 20,000. You had like 1 in 10 to 20,000. Some say 10, some say 20, but it was in that vicinity. That's a big vicinity. Now it's 1 in 36 babies have autism. 1 in 36. Think of it. It was 1 in probably 20,000 people. Now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong. Something's wrong, and Bobby is going to find it. Working with Dr. Oz, by the way. Working with Dr. Oz. Together, we've achieved more in 4 weeks than most administrations achieve in 4 years. We made a lot of progress. I heard O'Reilly last night say Donald Trump, for the first 4 weeks, is the greatest president ever in the history of our country. That was O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly is all right. You know who he said second was? George Washington. That's not bad. I beat George Washington. I love beating George Washington. Thank you, Bill. On our first day in office, we declared a national emergency at our southern border. After years of politicians using our military to defend foreign borders while leaving our country defenseless and helpless, we deployed a group of people, active duty troops, to defend our border and repel the invasion of our country. This was an invasion. You know, we had a great first term, a really great first term, and I called it an invasion. And we had great numbers, but now we have the best numbers we've ever had. We've never had numbers like this. We've done it all in 4 weeks. Think of it. That was Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, the whole group. On day one, I ended the catch and release. I reinstated Remain in Mexico, and I signed an order that will end birthright citizenship for the children of illegal aliens. Because it wasn't meant for these children. It wasn't meant for people that escaped or invaded, came into our country illegally. It was meant for the children of slaves. Because when it was done, many, many years ago, it was during a very tough period in this country's history, and that was meant for the children of slaves. I wish people would understand that so they could get this thing approved and we don't have millions and millions of people coming into our country and they shouldn't be here. This week, I also canceled temporary protected status for migrants from Haiti. They're pouring into our country, pouring in. If I weren't elected president, there'd be nobody in Haiti anymore. They were pouring in at levels from other countries too. All over Africa, the Congo, all over South America. And they were coming in from prisons and mental institutions and insane asylums, jails, and gang members and You have to see gang members, drug lords, people that are drug addicted. They were sending them all into our ridiculous and very stupid Biden open border. Our border czar was Kamala. Haven't said that name in a while. I haven't said that name. No, I haven't said that name in a while. Kamala. I'll bet nobody knows her last name. Nobody ever knows her last name. Even during the campaign, you'd have to say Kamala. It's strange, you know, a little different name. Kamala, because her last name was Harris. I used to say Senator Harris. Nobody knew who the hell I was talking about. So I had to go Kamala. But think of it, I was beating Joe badly, really badly, and they changed him. I'm the only one that ever had to beat two people. I had to beat two. Had to beat two. We beat two. I didn't beat. You beat. You beat two people. No, he was doing badly. That's like the great Dana White. He has a fight, and one guy's doing really badly, so when they take him out, they put another guy in the fight, the same guy that's... I had that. Never happened before. A lot of things we do never happened before. Do you ever notice that? We're the first in everything. So we beat two candidates. They said, who do you run against? Well, we ran against Biden and we ran against Kamala Harris. But illegal border crossings now have plummeted by almost 100%. The border czar never called the border, never called the great people of the border. They have unbelievable, I called them so much they couldn't take my calls. They hated me. But then they became to love me. You know why? Because the border people want to have great borders. But you have to call them on occasion. How are we doing today? Pete, how are we doing? You have to call. And we called the right guys. I became friends. You know, the Border Patrol endorsed me. And these people, you have no idea. They weren't supposed to, because you're not supposed to do that. I don't think you're allowed to do it. Actually, they did it anyway. They said, this is crazy. But these are great people, and ICE, and our general law enforcement, and by the way, our great, great firemen and firewomen, too. They were great. They all endorsed us. With the police, we got high 90s in terms of, and many of them were unionized, you know. We have a young lady who's right now going for the Department of Labor, and she tends to be a little bit on the slightly left of center. And everybody said, why did I do that? I said, you know why I did that? Because union labor likes her, and a lot of people like her, and she's very solid, very strong, and she's going to do the right thing. But they all voted for us. They didn't vote for me, they voted for us. We got the Teamsters, we got the firefighters, we got the police, we got the auto workers, we're so great. We had tremendous support, so I think it's nice to give them a person in the center, because that's what she's going to be very good, I think. But a lot of people say, why'd you do that? I said, because I want to do something nice for these people that voted for me. Oh, gee, what a great political move that was. Now they're all saying, what a great political move. No, it's all common sense. Remember that. Remember that. Sean O'Brien was fantastic. The whole group, they were great. Over the past few weeks, we've begun the largest deportation operation in American history, larger even than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, a very moderate man, but he was very strong on that. He didn't like people running into our country and taking over our country. I'll tell you, I had 4 years. I don't know if you had this. I couldn't stand it. Don't get angry. Donald, don't get angry, please. I couldn't stand it. Watching these people come in from jails and mental institutions and the worst criminals in the street, gang members being dropped off in buses and bussed into our country. I couldn't stand it. So I said, I'm going to run for president again. And now we don't have that problem. Now we don't have that problem anymore. We don't have that problem anymore. We now have the best border we've ever had. And by the way, if they can ever find my world's favorite chart ever in history, I'll show you what it was when I left. And now it's even slightly better Can you drop that chart, do you think? I don't know. I never tell them about this, but they used to drop it like magic. If they can, they'll drop it. Who the hell knows? But it's my favorite chart. My favorite chart in history. We're liberating communities like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, that have been occupied by illegal alien criminals from all over the world. We're rescuing the Americans whose jobs have been stolen, whose wages have been robbed, and whose way of life has been absolutely destroyed. And under the Trump administration, our country will not be turned into a dumping ground. We're not going to do it. We're going to have a great country again. It's going to happen soon, a lot sooner than you think, and we're going to have so much money coming in from tariffs. Oh, you're going to say, your senators and your congressmen are going to say, please, sir, please. You're making us look so bad. We have so much money coming in. I didn't know this was going to happen. Please don't do this to us. We look very bad. But they're great. They're doing well. I tell you, the Republican senators, they're sticking together. The Republican congressmen and women are sticking together. Every once in a while, you have one that wants a little action or something. I don't know what it is. It's so sad to see. I just hate to see it. I hate to see it, but they're sticking together. One thing about the Democrats, they have rotten, horrible policy, the worst policy in history, but they stick together. We have great policy, but sometimes they don't stick, but they've been sticking for us. They've been sticking. And I think the Speaker and the leader have done a fantastic job. That's Thune and Johnson, and I think they've done, two guys really working hard and they're really doing a great job. But we have a lot to stick with. We have a lot to stick together for, because what we've done has never been done before. Nobody's ever seen anything like this, and nobody's ever seen 4 weeks like we've had, especially the 4 weeks, the first 4 weeks. You know, that's like if you golf, when you sink that first 4-footer in the first hole, it gives you confidence on the next hole. You sink another one. Now you go into that third hole and you can't, and by the time you get to the fifth hole, you feel you can't miss, right? Like a baseball player, he gets up and he hits our first one, and then the second at bat, he hits that one. And, you know, and we have great confidence. And they've lost their confidence, as I said. They've really lost their confidence. I watched them. They're really screwed up. I watched this MSNBC, which is a threat to democracy, actually. They're stone cold mean, but they're stuttering. They're all screwed up. They're all mentally screwed up. They don't know what. Their ratings have gone down the tubes. I don't even talk about CNN. CNN's sort of like, I don't know. They're pathetic, actually. But MSNBC was mean. Their ratings are absolutely down. This Rachel Maddow, what does she have? She's got nothing. Nothing. She took a sabbatical where she worked 1 day a week. They paid her a lot of money. She gets no ratings. I should go against her in the ratings, because I'll tell you, she gets no ratings. All she does is to talk about Trump, 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 Trump. All different subjects, Trump this, Trump that. But these people are really, I mean, they lie. They shouldn't be allowed to lie every night. They are really a vehicle of the Democrat Party. They should be paying. Is that Gordon? Yes, is that Gordon? The great Gordon Chang? Is that Gordon? Stand up, Gordon. Wow. We have everybody here today. Thank you very much. How am I doing on China? Am I doing good? Am I doing good on China? Tell you one thing, nobody's ever done like I've done on China. Nobody ever let people know what was happening with respect to China. And I happen to like President Xi, and I have tremendous respect for the people of China, love the people of China. But we've been treated very unfairly by China and many other countries. And we're not being unfairly treated anymore. We had that down to a science in the first term, and then they lost it. You know, we lost over $1 trillion to China this last year under Biden, Crooked Joe Biden. What do we like better, Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe? Ready? Ready? Crooked Joe or Sleepy? Ready? Crooked Joe. Sleepy Joe. Got to stay with Crooked. He had one ability that I didn't have. He could do something that I couldn't do. I don't say that because he was a horrible golfer. Remember, he challenged me during the debate to a golf match? He said, I'm a 6 handicap. I said, you're not a 36 handicap. He said, he's a 6. And then he said, well, I'm 8. Remember? I said, that was quick. Picked up 2 strokes. He said, no, I'm an 8. But he's not a 36 handicap. But he had one ability that was amazing. He could go with cameras on him, television, fake news on him, probably because he knows they wouldn't cover it badly. You know, they covered him as well as you can cover him. How the hell can you cover the guy well? But he had this incredible ability. He could barely walk in the sand. Somebody thought he looked great in a bathing suit. And he'd walk in the sand pulling a thing that weighed about 6 ounces. You know those aluminum? See, aluminum's very good. A child, it's meant for children and very old people to lift, right? So he would put it down, and he'd put it down, and he'd fall into it, and he'd immediately fall asleep in front of the media. I could never do that. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. I could never do it. No, he was Sleepy Joe, but he was crooked as hell. You know, there's no question. He was a sleepy, crooked guy. Terrible, terrible president. He was the worst president in the history of our country. I don't care, I'll say it. Jimmy Carter passed away recently, and he passed away a happy man. He was a happy man when he passed away because he said that it's not even close. Joe was the worst, and believe me, I have to clean up the mess. I'm cleaning up the mess, and it is a mess on the border with inflation. Could go over every single thing he touched turned to shit, okay? Everything. It's true. It's true. That's true. Now Franklin Graham's angry at me. You know that. Franklin wrote me a letter. He said, I love your speeches. I love them so much. But they'd be better if you would never use foul language. And I told him, I said, Franklin, you know, Franklin Graham's a great guy, by the way, does a great job. The son of the great Billy Graham, right? But I said to Franklin, you know, sometimes you need it for emphasis. And he said, no, they'd be even better if you wouldn't use any bad language. That's not really a terrible word, you know. But that's a much more appropriate word, a better. What word would I use to describe? What word could I use? And we have to be truthful too, so you know. All countries are now taking their illegal aliens back, even those that stated strongly, we will never take them back. Don't ever send them to us. But they said that during the Biden administration. They never said it during my administration. Venezuela's taking them back. Colombia's taking them back. Remember, Colombia said, we will not take them back, he said. And within about 13 minutes, I think, we would love to take them back. In fact, we will send our planes to pick them up. Remember? And they said, what happened? What happened? And you see these Venezuelan planes loaded up with some real nice people. You wouldn't have wanted to be the pilot on any of those planes. But they know we're not playing games, and just this week I officially designated bloodthirsty cartels and murderous gangs as foreign terrorist organizations, something which Biden didn't want to do and nobody wanted to do. It's true. The full might and power of the federal government will now be dedicated to eradicating MS-13, Tren de Aragua. That's the Venezuelan prison gangs. These are very nice fellows. The only thing good about them is they make our criminals look like nice people. It's true. Remember when they used to say, people that come in from foreign countries are nice people. These are wonderful people. These are good people. They're not murderers. They're not terrible. These people make us look like babies, okay? You know the Hells Angels? They're among the nicest people on earth when you compare them to these thugs. And the Hells Angels actually love our country, if you can believe that. They actually do. but their members and their leaders in the United States will be hunted down. I'm talking about MS-13. They're hunting them down. We removed tens of thousands, MS-13, Trendiragua, rooted out, arrested, and expelled from our soil like the savage monsters that they are. We don't have anybody coming up from Argentina. Nobody's coming up from Argentina to facilitate the mass removal of criminal aliens. I also issued an executive order to make available the full capacity and detention. We're going to use Guantanamo Bay. We have a detention facility that's actually massive. Nobody even knew it existed. Holds thousands of prisoners. We never used it. For 4 long years, you had a president who put illegal aliens up in penthouse suites in beautiful hotels on Park Avenue, on Madison Avenue, or on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. Now you have a president who is stamping their ticket to Gitmo on a one-way trip back to the places from which they came. Wonderful places. Big difference. My administration is also moving swiftly to save the U.S. economy from the train wreck of inflation and worse that Joe Biden created. I withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord. It was a disaster. I terminated the Green New Scam. One of the greatest hoaxes ever played on this country is the Green New Scam. We spent trillions of dollars on this nonsense, and just a total hoax. It really set back our country, I want to tell you, monetarily and every other way. And I canceled Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate where everybody has to have an electric car. And if you want an electric car, get an electric car. If you want a gasoline-powered car, if you want to have a hybrid, you get it. The only thing you can't do is a hydrogen-powered car. You know why? They said it really works great, but when it doesn't work, you never find the body. That's a bad sign. You know, when it doesn't work, they found the body on a tree about 250 yards up the road. It's seriously bad. So we'll leave hydrogen out of it for a little while, I think, or maybe permanently. I'd say permanently. To crush inflation by slashing spending, I imposed an immediate federal hiring freeze, a federal regulation freeze, and a foreign aid freeze we're given to countries that hate us. We're giving billions and billions of dollars to countries that hate us. And I signed an order creating the Department of Government Efficiency. You probably haven't heard of it, which is now waging war on government waste, fraud, and abuse. And Elon is doing a great job. He's doing a great job. We love Elon, don't we? It's that guy, he's that character. With his son X. We love X. He's the only one can get away. His son's really named X. He's the only one can get away with naming his son X. If we ever did it, they'd say, you're crazy. But he's great. He's doing a great job, and he doesn't need this either. He doesn't need it, but he wants to see, you know, he's a patriot. People said, well, what official position does he have? I said, patriot. Oh, they didn't know. They said, that was good. He's a patriot. Here are some of the flagrant scams that, as an example, they've spent money on and we've been able to recapture for a large dose of it at least. $520 million for a consultant to, think of it, $520 million. $520 million. You know, when I hire consultants and they just take advantage of me, it's a horrible thing to watch. And I give them $25,000. I feel I'm overpaying. These guys got $520 million. Environmental, social, governance, and investments in Africa. $25 million to promote biodiversity, conservation, and socially responsible behavior in Colombia. This is Colombia, South America, not Columbia University. Of course, that might be worse, actually, based on their actions. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows where. Who are they? Where do they come from? Just sedentary migrants. Nobody even knows what a sedentary migrant is. If they were sedentary, they wouldn't be a migrant, right? They wouldn't move. No, they wouldn't move. They'd stay in the same place. Right, Doug? $42 million for social and behavior change in Uganda. $10 million for Mozambique medical male circumcisions. Why are we going to Mozambique to do circumcisions? It's a lot of money. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. Here's a beauty. $486 million to a consortium of elections and political process strengthening ideas, of which $22 million goes to inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova. $29 million goes to strengthen the political landscape and help them out so that they can vote for a radical left communist in Bangladesh. You had to see who they supported. You wouldn't believe, yeah, you would believe it. Nobody in this room would be in that group. $20 million for fiscal federalism and $19 million for biodiversity in Nepal. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. $18 million for helping India with its elections. Why the hell? Why don't we just go to all paper ballots? Let them help us with their elections, right? Voter ID. Wouldn't that be nice? We're giving money to India for elections. They don't need money. They take advantage of us pretty good. One of the highest tariff nations in the world. We try and sell something, they have a 200% tariff, and then we're giving them a lot of money to help them with their election. $32 million for the Prague Civil Society Center. $14 million for social cohesion in Liberia. $9.7 million to develop a cohort Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills. Think of that. Millions of dollars for sex change operations in Guatemala. $20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq. They put on a little play on the street. $20 million. You could do it on Broadway and have $19 million left over. No, it's a scam. They get kickbacks and all sorts of things. It's a scam. Who ever heard of it? Think of it, $20 million Sesame Street, a play. We're also uncovering outrageous incompetence and fraud in the Social Security. We have, look, let's assume that people, generally speaking, in our case, and everybody in this room, we're going to all live way over 100, but this is a little ridiculous because not too many people are going over 100. Everybody, hopefully, in this room will. But there are in the Social Security ranks and files. And what we're doing now is finding out, do they get paid? Do they get paid? In other words, is somebody taking all of this money? So they have over 100 to 109, 4.7 million Social Security numbers. Think of that, from people whose age is over 100. 3.6 million people whose age is over 110 years. 3.47 million people who are over 120 years of age. 3.9 million people whose age goes from 130 to 139 years of age. 3.5 million whose age goes from 140 to 149 years old. 1.3, see, it's coming down now slowly. No, it's all a scam. The whole thing is a scam. 1.3 million people, 1.3 who are over 150 years of age. And over 130,000 people are listed on our Social Security rolls as over 160 years of age. Now, the final is at 1,039, so now we're down into reasonable numbers. 1,039 people are listed between the ages of 220 years old to 229. And we have one person who's listed at 241 years of age. And we have one person listed at 360 years of age, an all-time record, and our country's 250 years old. So that person's substantially older than our country. Under our administration, there will be no tolerance for Social Security fraud. We will not allow anyone to cheat our seniors, and those who will do that will be prosecuted by Pam, Bondi, and others. We are also going to Fort Knox. I'm going to go with Elon. And would anybody like to join us? Because we want to see if the gold is still there. We want to see. Wouldn't that be terrible? We open up this Fort Knox. It's just solid granite that's 5 feet thick. The front door, you need 6 musclemen to open it up. I don't even think they have windows. Wouldn't that be terrible if we opened it up and there was no gold there? So we're going to open those doors. We're going to take a look. And if there's 27 tons of gold, we'll be very happy. I don't know how the hell we're going to measure it, but that's okay. We want to see lots of nice, beautiful, shiny gold in Fort Knox. Don't be totally surprised. We open the door, we'll say, there's nothing here. They stole this too. Now, we have a very corrupt group of people in this country, and we're finding them out. We're removing all of the unnecessary, incompetent, and corrupt bureaucrats from the federal workforce. That's what we're doing. And under the buyouts, we offered federal employees more than 75,000 federal bureaucrats. Think of that. Have voluntarily agreed to surrender their taxpayer-funded jobs. We want to make government smaller, more efficient. We want to keep the best people, and we're not going to keep the worst people. And, you know, we're doing another thing. If they don't report for work, we're firing them. In other words, you have to go to office. Right? Right? Look at her. If you don't report to work, you know, that's another scam. You know, who the hell, if I'm staying home, I'm going to, let's see, my golf handicap would get down to very low number. You'd be shocked if I told you the real number. But I would be so good, I'd try and get on tour. I would be so good. I'd call up, I'd say, listen, I'm really working here. Where are my clubs? Where are my clubs? Either that or, in many cases, they have second jobs while they're getting paid by us. So one of the reasons they're leaving is because they don't want to have to show that. And we're demanding to see that information. How many jobs have you had? Who paid you while you were working for the government? And we are demanding that people, if they work for the government, they have to show up and sit in an office and do their job, right? And we've also effectively ended the left-wing scam known as USAID, the agency's name. Has been removed from its former building, and that space will now house agents from Customs and Border Patrol. Beautiful. And at the ultra-left CFPB, which was terrible. So many people have been hurt by that. I used to get calls from lending officers, from owners of small banks, and they were almost crying. What they did to those people, they destroyed them, put them out of business. It was established by Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. Does anyone know? Remember the Pocahontas scam? I'm an Indian, therefore I'm entitled to be a senator. I'm an Indian. She said, could we see proof of that, please? She said, well, the only proof I have is my mother said I have high cheekbones. Oh, that's no good, right? Remember she went out? I really spooked her, I tell you. Remember she went out, she couldn't take it anymore. I was calling her Pocahontas, Pocahontas. Everyone knew she was not an Indian. I had more Indian blood than her, and I have no Indian blood. I'd be honored to, but I don't have any, but I had more than her. Do you remember she went out and she had a blood test? And it came back and she was so happy because it said 1,024th. That means everybody in this room had more than her. But because there was even a scant, in other words, you know, 1 million years ago, something could have happened. And she was so happy that she released it and she got killed. That was the end of her presidential career. She does not like me very much. But she's a very angry person. Do you notice the way she is? She's always screaming, and she's crazy. These people are crazy. The radical left is meaner. I don't know what it is, Doug. They're meaner than us, aren't they? We're like normal people. You know, we're smart, we get our word, but we don't go crazy. Of course, they'll take my little rant from 15 minutes ago, the fake news. He lost control on the stage. He lost control. And they'll have me screaming, having to do with Franklin, poor Franklin. He lost control of the stage. Oh, these people are bad. They are really sick, too. I don't get it. You know, you think they'd want to love our country. They have no ratings anymore. Nobody listens to them. Nobody believes the fake New York Times. Washington Post is doing no business. They're losing all their business. Nobody believes them. But we've escorted the radical left bureaucrats out of the building and locked the doors behind them. We've gotten rid of thousands. I withdrew the United States from the corrupt World Health Organization. I withdrew from the anti-Semitic UN Human Rights Council. The council is horrible, and I withdrew from the terror-supporting UN Relief and Works Agency. The UN has such great potential, but not the way it's run now. It's terrible the way it's run now. We stopped all taxpayer money to these corrupt institutions. And by the way, just so, because who the hell knows, we got to talk about something very important. The war between Russia and Ukraine. People are being killed, mostly young men, mostly Russian and Ukrainian men, at levels you've never seen before. Thousands of people a week. And I've spoken to President Putin, and I think that thing is going to end, but it's got to end. It's a horrible, horrible thing to watch. I'm dealing with President Zelensky. I'm dealing with President Putin. I'm trying to get the money back that, or secured, because, you know, Europe is given $100 billion. The United States has given $350 billion because we had a stupid, incompetent president and administration. 350. But here's worse. Europe gave it in the form of a loan. They get their money back. We gave it in the form of nothing. So I want them to give us something for all of the money that we put up. And I'm going to try and get the war settled, and I'm going to try and get all that death ended. So we're asking for rare earth and oil, anything we can get. But we feel so stupid. Here's Europe. And you know, it affects Europe. It doesn't really affect us, except we don't like to see two things. Number one, how Biden got us into this thing in the first place. Terrible. But why is it that he didn't ask for equalization? Europe should put up more money than us. But even if you said the same thing, how come we went so far out front? And he didn't know that Europe gets his money back. They did it in the form of a loan. We don't get our money back. We get nothing. So we're getting our money back. We're going to get our money back because it's not fair. It's just not fair. And we will see. But I think we're pretty close to a deal, and we better be close to a deal, because that has been a horrible situation. It would have never happened if I were president. And by the way, October 7th, Israel would have never happened if I was president, too. Would have never happened. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah. They had no money to give. Everybody knows that. Jewish people in the audience know that. Iran was broke. They were not giving money around. And when I got out, they took all the sanctions off Biden, and Iran became rich very quickly. With oil, you can become rich very, very quickly. And the rest is history. What a horrible thing. Even though the hostages are coming back, I saw it this morning where we got 6 more back. Biden got none back, by the way, just so you understand. None. 0. He would have never gotten any of them back. But they're coming back in pretty bad shape. It's a horrible thing, and many are dead. Many are dead. So we'll see how that all ends up, but it's a horrible thing. But I just want you to know we're working on that. That's a very big part of it. And I don't like talking about it because we're in the middle of negotiations, but it's a very, very sad, would have never happened. There was no way. Russia was never going to go in, and they went in because of a lot of reasons, and so many people are dead. Far more people are dead than you're reading about. You know, when they blow up all these cities, all those cities they look like demolition sites. Every single building is down. All of those beautiful golden towers that are 1,000 years old, they're lying on the ground in smithereens, blown to smithereens. There's nothing left of them. They're just lying on the ground, never to be rebuilt again, not possible to rebuild them again. And all of that heritage is gone. People have done a really horrible job. That would have never, if I were president, zero chance that a shot would even have been fired. Wouldn't have happened. So sad. To further turbocharge our economy, we've launched the most aggressive deregulation program in any nation's history. And we're also going to be seeking the largest tax cuts in American history. Again, we brought them down, as you know, from close to 40% down to 21%. Now we're bringing them down to 15% if you make your product in the United States of America. We're defending the American worker like never before, and that's why the auto workers and the union workers and the Teamsters and so many others, they supported us, the firemen, the policemen, so many others, whether they were union or non-union, they all supported us. They supported, it was called workers, and they supported us at levels that nobody's ever seen before. Weeks ago, I imposed a 10% tariff on all goods coming from China because of the fact that they're sending fentanyl into our country, through Mexico, by the way. I'm not happy with Mexico, or I'm not happy with Canada either. I imposed 25% tariffs on all foreign steel and aluminum, and I will soon impose reciprocal tariffs on any country that charges us. And by the way, the reciprocal means they charge us, we charge them, same thing. So nobody can be upset, right? But we have countries charging us 200%, and we charge them nothing. They charge us, we charge them. Our country's going to become rich again, very rich. I always say it's my favorite word in the dictionary. The word tariff is my favorite word in the dictionary. You know, we were the richest relatively from, think of this, from 1870 to 1913. That was our richest because we collected tariffs from foreign countries that came in and took our jobs and took our money, took our everything. But they charged tariffs, and we had so much money, they set up the 1887. Think of that, a long time ago. 1887 Tariff Commission. It was a commission of very important people to determine where we should spend all of the tremendous, vast wealth that we had. We had so much wealth. Wouldn't it be nice today? Of course, now we give it away to transgender this, transgender that. Everybody gets a transgender operation. It's just wonderful. No, we give it away like to crazy things. But in those days, it was different. It was a different world. It was a different country. But we were very rich because of tariffs. And I get myself in trouble because I say that tariff is my favorite word. And the fake news went crazy. What about God? What about wife and family? What about love? I said, okay, tariff is now my fourth favorite word. I got myself into a lot of trouble with that. You can't believe it. I said, tariff is my favorite word in the dictionary, and I got killed by the fake news. So I say now, it doesn't sound good. Tariff, it's my fourth favorite word. I go, tariff is my fourth favorite word. It sounds so terrible, but this way I'm free. I write free, you know. I don't get clobbered by the fake news. But tariffs are also a powerful tool of diplomacy, and all around the world are moving quickly to bring back peace through strength. We have the greatest, you know, I rebuilt our entire military in the first term. We left a lot of it, although a lot of it, but very small relatively, in Afghanistan. The Taliban has it. You know, they have their parade every year where they take our military vehicles and run them up some little street, and like it's their form of a military parade, and it makes me angry when I see that. Angry. When I see that, I get angry. You know, we give them, I don't think anyone knows this, we give Afghanistan about $2 or $2.5 billion a year. Do you know that? For aid. We need aid ourselves. And I'm going to go back, and I told them yesterday, I want to look at it, but if we're going to give them money, it's okay. But I want them to give us back our military equipment that they have. They're selling it. Doug, would you take that, please? All right? Write something up. No, I want them to give back. If we're going to give them that kind of money, let them give back the military equipment, which they have. They have tanks and trucks and guns and goggles. They have goggles. They have night goggles, better than we have. Brand new right out of the box. It's unbelievable. So I want to do that, and I want if we're going to pay him, I want to get that equipment back, okay? Doug can do it. He's one of the guys. He's a business guy. To him, he's sitting there saying, how the hell did this ever happen, right? Can you believe it? We give them billions of dollars, and we gave them our military equipment. Just tremendous numbers of billions of dollars worth of military, billions and billions. We have a ceasefire in Gaza, and we're joined today by several survivors of the captivity under Hamas, including Noah Argamani and Ilana Gretovsky. Wow, look at that, how beautiful. What a beautiful group of people. Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you're sitting next to a great guy, Sebastian Gorka, who's also now in the administration. From day one, right, Sebastian? He's been a loyalist from day one. We love Sebastian. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Thank you, everybody. That's very nice. Beautiful. We're going to make it work somehow, you know. We're doing the best we can. We started, it should have never happened. That's the sad part. Would have never happened. If I were president, and I should have been, if I were president, it would have never happened. But it did, so we're doing the best we can with it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Also with us are family members of some individuals who are still hostages, and we will not rest until all of the hostages have been returned back home. Some of them are coming home in very bad condition, and some of them are coming home only as bodies. They're dead. We have a lot of them coming home now. They're dead. And these are largely young people. Young people don't die. Young people are young people. They don't die like this, but they're dead. And the parents come to me and they say, please, sir, could you get my son back? How old is he, sir? My son is dead. It's important, just as important as if that son were alive, to get the body back. It's amazing, actually. Amazing. Just as important. Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing, though, the parents. The parents are strong. I mean, look, strong. What does strong mean? Strong is their life is ruined. Really, it's ruined. I see the people. But they come up to me, and it's so important to get the body back. They know. And some are not sure. They're 80% sure he's dead or she's dead. But they have that little glimmer of hope, and I say, let them have that hope, right? Let them have that hope. But getting the body back is just as important as getting the son back healthy or the daughter back healthy. It's amazing to see when I see the level of intensity and love and sorrow and tragedy. As I said in my inaugural address, it's my hope that my greatest legacy will be as a peacemaker, not a conqueror. I don't want to be a conqueror. Under the Trump administration, every day brings more good news for America. I've ended all of the so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across the entire federal government and the private sector, and notified every single government DEI officer that their job has been deleted. They're gone. They're fired. You're fired. Get out. You're fired. I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. That was easy. I banned men from competing in women's sports. And I also proudly banned the use of, thank you. We banned the use of puberty blockers, hormone injections, and other chemical and surgical mutilation of your youth. Could you imagine making a speech like this 10 years ago? People would say, what the hell is he talking about, right? This is a sickness that came along with critical race theory and all of that other things that we had to put up with. And it's all out now, critical race theory and transgender insanity. It's all gone from our schools and from our military. And I believe it's gone, too. I think we've turned the heads of even the people that, if you can believe they're believers, I don't know if they were, but I believe that it's all gone. And I've directed the reinstatement of any service member who was expelled from the armed forces due to the COVID vaccine mandate. They will be returned to their former rank with full back pay. Full back pay. I banned government censorship from your voices and brought back free speech in America. We have free speech. We didn't have free speech. We do have it now, actually. Now, this was a very vicious regime, you know. I was put under investigation more so than the late, great Alphonse Capone, one of the great killers of the world. Trump, my father would look down my mother. How the hell did this happen to my boy? This wasn't... No, I was under investigation at a far greater level than Al Capone or anybody else, probably in the history of our country. These people are sick. They're sick. They're bad people. I ended Joe Biden's weaponization as soon as I got in. I said, I'm going to hit him with the same stuff. But I ended his whole weaponization of our government and removed his hand-picked radical left Marxist prosecutors from the Department of Justice. I was so happy to do that. They weaponized government. They weaponized government. I pardoned hundreds and hundreds of Biden's political prisoners, including Christians, pro-life activists, and the J6 hostages who were treated terribly for years. We even got rid of people like Pete Buttigieg, who did the worst job of anybody in the history of transportation. What a bunch of losers. I revoked the security clearances of Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, John Brennan, James Clapper, and every non-patriot who lied to cover up Hunter Biden's laptop from hell. We took away their security clearances. And they're not allowed to enter any government building either. I also revoked Joe Biden's security clearances, the Biden crime family security clearances, and they'll no longer be allowed to access state secrets while selling themselves all around the world. Oh, well. Now, these were bad people. These were bad people. And I do that because this should never be allowed to happen again. What happened to me in this administration, what happened on J6, what happened on all of the things they did that was so bad, should never, ever be allowed to happen again. And on a friendlier note, I renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And we are restoring the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley in Alaska. And as you know, many years ago, Jimmy Carter gave away the Panama Canal. And Panama started the process of giving the Panama Canal, by the way, the most expensive development ever in the history of our country. Relatively. It would have been $1.5 trillion in today's dollars. 38,000 people died from our country building the Panama Canal. They died from mosquitoes and snakes. Think of it. They paid them 5 times their salary. They brought them to Panama, and they had a 25% chance of dying. They dug under nets so the mosquitoes wouldn't get them. But we lost 38,000, mostly men, laborers, construction workers, because it was such a harsh way to live. It was very brutal. They died. 38,000. Again, it was the most expensive thing we ever built, and they gave it away for $1 to Panama. And last year it made $5 billion. Also, it's one of the most successful projects ever built in terms of money, monetarily. And it's the 8th wonder of the world. It connects 2 oceans, with one being 16 feet higher than the other. Think of it, the Pacific and the Atlantic. Think of what that is. You're going through dikes and canals. Amazing what they did. It was really a wonder of the world. We gave it away for nothing. But we didn't give it to China. We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama. We're going to take back the Panama Canal. In a matter of weeks, we have restored America's pride, America's confidence, and America's spirit. According to a brand new poll from Rasmussen, the number of Americans who believe we are on the right track now exceeds the number who think we're on the wrong track. This is the first time in 23 years. That's hard to believe. And we had one poll where we're at 81% right track, wrong track. I guess it depends on who, but that one poll, because Rasmussen's been a good poll, first time in over 20 years that we've had a positive number on that. That's great. That's great. November 5th, 2024 will go down as one of the most important days in the history of our country. I'm pointing to Mike Lindell. That man suffered. That man suffered. The FBI thugs went up to him and they took away everything he had. He suffered. And Mrs. Lindell, was a great guy. They went after him. It was just terrible. This was a vicious weaponization of your government. But he's all, I'll tell you, he stood up. He's all man. He stood up strong. And nothing was going to faze him. And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody, Mike. You put up with a tremendous amount. And he never changed his mind. He said that election of 2020 was rigged. And he's more of a believer today than he was even 4 years ago. But now it's okay to say it, Mike. Now it's fine. Now, that's why, you know, when it comes to a day where you can't challenge crooked elections, we've got a real problem in this country. And as of January 20th, 2025, the dark days of high taxes, crushing regulations, rampant inflation, flagrant corruption, government weaponization, and total incompetence, those days are over. They're over. But we cannot stop now. We're going to push forward every single day. In the immortal words of that great American hero, Captain John Paul Jones, I have not yet begun to fight. And neither have you. So together for the next 4 years, we are going to stand strong. We are going to work hard. We are going to fight, 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 and win, win, win. Thank you to Cpac. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. God bless America. Thank you very much. God bless America. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.